But the reason that I'm sharing the story is because like I want to talk about what happens, like what do we do when we get injured, right? That's like a pretty important thing to talk about because injuries are pretty inevitable, whether you're training or not. Um, the training that we do reduces the risk of injury a great deal, and when we train smart, then we create resilience in our body, so that way we're less prone to injuries. But crazy shit happens sometimes, like um, you know. And so, what I kind of wanted to run through is like, what do we do when we get injured, and what is the difference between working out and training? Does anybody have a definition that they want to throw out? Like, what is like? Had you even thought about this before? What is the difference between working out and training?
I feel like training is much more intentional. It's
Mm-hmm.
toward a very specific goal. There was when I started CrossFit, people were like, "Why are you training?" And I used to joke that I was training for the zombie apocalypse. But it was a joke, but also like there was some truth to it. I'm like, I felt really good. Like if there was a zombie apocalypse, like I could climb and run and like hide.
Yeah.
But you can apply that to
And karate chop zombies in
sport.
the neck. That.
I want to train with my katana because I feel like that's the best weapon. But anyway, my point, we digress. My point is that like before when I used to work out, I was kind of like, okay, I'm gonna go for a run or I'm gonna go on the bike. And it was the intention was to get fit, but when I started training, it was like I want my body to be stronger. I want to be able to lift the groceries and carry them for a longer distance, etc. So it becomes much more purposeful.
Perfect. You nailed it. That's like the exact definition, right? Like working out is just a workout. There's not necessarily really any point to it. You're just doing stuff. But training is towards a specific goal, like exactly like you just said. Working out has little to no bearing on what you actually want to achieve, but training has everything to do. It's entirely based on what you want to achieve. And so, I'll submit to you that like what we do within this hour is a workout, but we're not working out, right? A workout is part of this habit of what we're doing called training, right? So if you haven't figured out like what are you training for, like Annabelle said, could be a zombie apocalypse. Like that's an amazing thing to train for, because that is definitely happening. The amount of vaccines that I've seen put in people's arms lately, something's going to happen. And so training it does include workouts, but there's other things that training includes, right? If you're taking direct and intentional action towards a goal, then there's other things that go into that besides doing strength and conditioning, right? Which is what a workout typically is. You could be doing injury rehab. You could be doing mobility work, flexibility work, right? Which maybe some person would technically not classify that as a workout. But if you have an injury, if you just were screwing around on the playground and you messed up your bicep, then the next like part of the training is recovering from that injury, right? And so that way you can still fend off zombies, or climb rock walls, or walk in Jesse's case, right? And then there's something else that is involved with a training plan. It's part of training that a lot of people wouldn't maybe consider, and that is rest and recovery. So there's also some wisdom to know, like when is it appropriate to just rest, right? Like during the acute inflammatory phase of an injury, the best thing to do is to do active rest and recovery. Try to control that inflammation with ice and with topical remedies and with the cold exposure. Take cold showers, take cold plunge, right? You're not doing a workout, but you're still moving as quickly as possible toward your goal. So that's training. And so to finish up this conversation here, we have to recognize that most people aren't doing any of these things. Why is that? Like I meet a lot of people who have injuries, or be it chronic or acute injuries, and they're not doing any of these things. Maybe they're resting, but it's not active rest. It's not intentional rest. They're just sitting around doing nothing. They haven't intentionalized it. So why is that happening?
Because they haven't decided that their health is a priority.
Nice.
Or they just, I don't know, don't have, the desire to see how far their body can go. They're missing some type of motivation.
Yeah. So there's a lack of motivation towards, towards achieving something, towards gaining, but there is a motivation in another direction, right?
It's funny, I was just thinking about this today, or maybe it was yesterday, because as you know, I was climbing a lot up to the pandemic, and I just realized, like, everyone I know that climbs is dealing with an injury, and in most cases, like, they're dealing with the injury is just to continue to climb, and to complain about it, and to wear some kind of brace, and that's it. And it kind of turns me off from wanting to climb with them, because I'm like, there's a real disconnect here. Like, it's not. Why would you do that? Why would you continue to do this? I mean, I like the idea of, like, pushing myself to the limits, but, like, why just accept that is the reality of enjoying this sport? I haven't really completely put it into words, because I was literally just thinking about it today. But I think part of it is the toolkit. So there's the desire, like she said, there's the wanting to take care of the body, but there's also just, like, lack of information, lack of a toolkit to, like, go back to. Like, we don't have a lot of examples of people who take that side of it seriously.
Yep. Yeah, that's certainly not, like, mainstream, but it is out there.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was able to find it, then anyone else can find it, right? I'm not special.
No, you're special.
I'm special for other reasons. That's true.
You're special, Nathan.
You're so special.
You're so special.
It has to become part of your everyday practice. It has to be it's as beneficial as brushing your teeth. And it has to be that way. It has to be something that you don't have to think about, you just do it. And that doesn't mean, like, I picked up garbage for 3 hours this weekend because the road was driving me crazy, and I just couldn't stand driving by this road every day and seeing all this garbage. But if I hadn't been doing at least, my 3 workouts a week, I would have not been in any condition to be out there for 3 hours bending over, picking up garbage.
Mm-hmm.
So even if it means walking, or, it doesn't have to be like jumping around for half an hour or 45 minutes. It can be doing yoga. It can be walking, 3 or 4 miles a day. I mean, but it has to be something you do every day, like brushing
Yeah.
your teeth.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I think there's another conversation here that we'll have to have for the sake of time. But you guys, talking about like what Elliot and Sue mentioned here in the last couple minutes, I think there's, there's this disconnect, like what Sue's talking about just now, like the being in the place where training becomes a habit, something you do every day, it's a big step that you guys have taken. That's why you're here. And sometimes you take that for granted, right? How huge of a step that is. Most people haven't taken that step. Like Elliot said, there's a lot of people that are far disconnected from that. They're just continuing to do whatever it is that got them injured in the first place. They're almost like in denial, and they complain about it. It's like, well, why aren't you doing anything about it? Well, I feel like that's kind of, yeah. You guys see the gap there?
Mhm.
I have a few ideas, but we'll have to save that for next time. Keep you guys in suspense.